This is my first time using the 06 Suns in NBA 2K19. And now that I think about it, surprisingly, this is one of the few times in 2K that I've really ever used the Suns since they were introduced in 2K16, I believe. I used them a couple of times in Play Now Online last year. And then when I started streaming on Twitch, I used them twice, I think. Yeah, 2 times that I can remember. And as you can see here, we're getting a game that you couldn't get in the previous games, because 9 times out of 10, you were not getting a historic team matched up with a current team. So I actually like this. This is a very fun matchup. And how I go about playing with these teams is actually very similar. Well, for the Lakers, minus all the shooters obviously, but these teams are both used best if you can get out in transition and if you can run and gun. So the thing with the Suns, even though they were one of my favorite additions back when they added them, the reason I've never used them much is because I found out last year they were just so unbalanced. And it's really like they're one of the teams that are more true to how they were in real life. Amazing offense, blistering offense, especially when it gets going, you can blow teams out of the water, but you get cut up on the defensive side. And this really starts with Steve Nash. You know, Nash has tremendous upside because of everything he does for the offense, but man, certain teams that you play, he can become a liability very quickly. Because say you run into a team like the Showtime Lakers. I mean, Showtime is a bad matchup for anybody, but I'm just using them hypothetically for the matchups that they present. They've got an insanely tall point guard with Magic Johnson. They have the option to put in a really big shooting guard with Michael Cooper. And then they've got James Worthy at the 3. So in that lineup, assuming you're finding anybody who knows what they're doing, you're fucking toast. Who is Steve Nash guarding out there? I actually just looked at my hard drive for my NBA 2K18 files, and it turns out I actually did have that exact matchup where I was the 87 Lakers. So I looked through it, and he actually matched up Steve Nash with Michael Cooper, which was better than having him on Johnson because I was straight putting him in the post every play. But you can see how that's a terrible situation if you have a team that's very versatile with the perimeter. That right there can be a death sentence when you're using this team. And on top of that, it's not like you can hide Nash either. You can't take him out of the game for long periods of time or else you're not going to win with this squad. But I'm not going to sell them short though. This team is super fun to play with just based off the fact they have so many people to score with. You got 3-point shooters everywhere. You've got the Nash and Stoudemire duo. Then you've got the trick passes with Nash, which when you pull them off, those are really impressive. And honestly, this year with the boost that defense got in 2K19, this team isn't even as unbalanced as it used to be, just based off the fact that it's really hard to blow by a player. So even somebody like Steve Nash can stay in front of players that maybe he wouldn't have been able to in real life. And then there's the case of the Lakers, which I'm gonna have to give them their own individual video, because I actually think compared to what they're doing in real life right now, this is actually an overpowered team, an overrated team. The thing with them is that if you use their real life fast-paced tempo offense in the game, and the fact that you're incorporating LeBron James into those breaks, it's really hard for teams to stop you when you get running, especially with 2K's transition defense being what it is. I've been able to abuse people just based off that alone. But then there's JaVale McGee. Man, when I tell you I have never caught lobs like I have with JaVale McGee in this game, when you cut into the paint and their center tries to rotate, automatic lob from McGee no matter who you throw it from. But I'm going to say that for another video, because this gameplay actually got very interesting. I had 2K plotting on my downfall, a close game of a 1-point game going into the 4th quarter. Here I am running the quick 4 with ISO Joe. If you were in the stream that day, you already know all about ISO Joe. He is one of those heat check players in 2K. I think he had like all my points in 1 quarter or something like that. I don't know, somebody remind me if you were in that stream. I was able to stay in Rondo a bit with Nash. That was one of the things I was talking about earlier. And I was trying to get a break there. The fake pass got the defense off balance, got it into Marion. And I'm always able to create some distance. If you notice in these gameplays, or if you see me in stream, it's like you can create some distance and then this happens right here. I stepped back a little bit because Beasley hadn't shot anything the entire game. That was his first attempt. So I stepped back and I dared him to shoot it, and I knew he would. And I stepped up. I thought I stepped up in time, and that was a bad pass right there. I was trying to lead it to Stoudemire, and he's right back in the game. Look at that, 5 quick points. It's an art form to try not to rush to put somebody away, to try not to take a heat check shot. I was trying to get in with Nash right there. He was playing some pretty shitty defense. And then the Suns have some interesting plays too. For the amount of shooters they have, as you can see, look at all these lines right here. Look at all these options. He was reaching. Oh, that was a good contest by McGee. And I threw it right to him, but got it back. And my release was very early, and they called that lightly contested. I got lucky that one went in. This is a little bit closer to the end of the game. Tyson Chandler with the contest. Tyson has been big for the Lakers, not only in 2K, but in real life. And I got Kyle Kuzma, but that animation pushed Joe Johnson under the basket. It pushed him a little bit. So, oh, and look at that. Reaching in the backcourt, but that was my fault. I was rushing. That's always the gamble, though. That is always the gamble when you get on that square button back there. He almost caught me. I was definitely rushing. But sometimes it's just not fair. I see Gatorade signs. I see too many Gatorade signs. There's 3 Gatorade signs on the floor right now. All my players are tired. But he's got Tyson Chandler fumbling down low. I guess he was trying to spin in or trying to run in. That's one similarity with 2K18 and 2K19 is when you're in the paint, it's not as bad as last year. But if there's people down there, you want to get it out of there as quick as possible. It becomes like hot potato. So it's a 3-point game. I run the quick 4. This is only my second time using it that quarter. And he did a very good job neutralizing it with Lonzo Ball. That's one way to guard that play. You get to the side of the player, and I tried to get in front of LeBron right there. That was about the dumbest thing I could have possibly done. I had Stoudemire right there. I should have just ran straight to the rim, and I tried to get in front of LeBron James to stop the break. And again, getting addicted to that fake pass. I should have thrown the first one. I got lucky. That bad foul animation. And this is very interesting. Look what he just did. He subbed Tyson Chandler out for, I guess that's Wagner, and I threw a boneheaded pass. I guess I wasn't really looking in the direction that I was passing. Mistakes like that have cost you under a minute. But he's not playing McGee or Chandler. He went with Wagner instead. So I'm already looking at that like I'm going to take advantage of that. You see, now he's forcing with LeBron. He forced up a bad shot. He still had 14 seconds on the clock. And there's no question, I got spared a little bit right there because there's only like, what, a 6-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. And now he's going for the steal. This is what a lot of guys do. They don't want you to run out the clock. They want you to make a decision. They either want you to attack, and I'm gonna attack. I'm going right at Wagner. You're gonna pay for not having Tyson Chandler in here. That was a terrible decision.
Ball with the rebound. LeBron outside. Yes!
Oh, you gotta love the poise of James, a master.
And then 2K just tries to decide your fate. After you've done everything right, you've taken advantage of mismatches, you played good defense, and 2K tries to decide your fate with some BS like this. I had been eyeballing that mismatch since he made it. Since he made the substitution for Chandler, I was like, you could have at least put McGee in, a rim protector at the minimum. But he disrespected me by putting a bench warmer in the game on Stoudemire, on prime Amar'e Stoudemire. I had nobody else in my mind for that play, and inexplicably, a prime Amar'e Stoudemire blows what was essentially an open dunk under the rim. You gotta have a short memory though. Your opponent doesn't care if you were cheesed. Except this out of bounds play is making it real difficult. It is so crowded on the side of this floor, it is going to take a miracle to even get a shot off.
And the tagger, he drills the game winner.
All zeros on the clock as he drains the game winner.
RIP to that dude's joystick. I can't tell you how many controllers I've lost in my childhood to buzzer beater. You ever see those memes online they're talking about how somebody's struggling, and then you're like, have you ever felt what it's like to lose to a 2K buzzer beater? Especially this type. This is the worst type. There's nothing worse than essentially having won a game. I mean, he did everything right defending it. Let's go ahead and forget that he got lucky that I missed that dunk on the other side. But he defended this out of bounds play pretty perfectly. There was nothing more he could have done. I was actually going to Joe Johnson. At a certain point, I just said Joe was going to have to bail me out because this is his type of thing. This is his moment. So I went to Joe, and he actually jumped with LeBron. I was way too amped to see that when it happened. And I just barely caught Steve Nash curling into the free throw line, and Lonzo gave him just enough space so that by the time Nash had actually released the ball, Lonzo hadn't even left the ground, so that is an open shot. but the degree of difficulty on that shot and in the pressured situation, he had to twist his whole body in like 0.5 of a second to even get that off. That right there is one of the craziest games of 2K I've played. Wow, I might have quit playing 2K for a month if I hadn't won that game. I guess it took a little bit of luck for both of us. He got lucky when I got cheesed, and I won't say he got cheesed, but I definitely got lucky. The 2K gods are watching over me. Somebody upstairs was watching.